Theming is a really powerful tool that lets you change the aesthetic of your entire application all from one menu. These changes are things such as changing the colours on your application, how round your corners are, as well as the typography used inside of text. If we'd like to make these changes, we can click on the cog icon in the top right corner of the screen to access the app settings. Click on the Theming tab, and here we're presented with our theming options. At the top of this screen, we can see that we have a preview. This gives us an insight into how our changes that we make are going to be impacting the app components on our pages. We have examples of buttons, input fields, error messages, as well as text. Let's make some changes and see how it starts to change the preview. The first thing I'm able to do is I'm able to change my accent colours. We can see at the moment they're at the top of our preview with this blue and this pink colour, but I can change these by adding my own values into the fields below, and they apply in real time. I can also change how the text appears. Coming to my typography options, I can click plus to add a font and select a new font, such as Times New Roman, which when I click on it, we can see drastically changes what it looks like in the preview. I can also do things such as changing the base font size, as well as changing the colour of the main text. By default, it's set to black. I can also do things such as setting my own background colours, my own status colours, as well as my own border radius. And for my purposes, I'm going to up this from 2 to 8. And the preview, we can see, has now made everything a bit more round than it was before. Clicking on Apply and closing our settings page, we can see these changes have taken effect on our application. The text has now adopted Times New Roman as the font. The corners on our buttons on the left and our search box at the top of the screen are now 8 pixels round. And the colours of our buttons on the left, as well as our icons in the top right hand corner, are now taking on the qualities of our primary and secondary colours. Let's say, however, I want to make it so that one of my buttons is a different colour to the rest of them and doesn't take the value set in my theming options. I can click on that button and I can start to open up its properties to change these values. We can see that for a button, as an example, we have a colour option, which when I click on it, gives me a few options. We have the primary colour that we had earlier, as well as the secondary colour that was just set, or we can do default, which is the button's own default colour, which in this case is grey. We can go a step further, and we can say that if we would like to overwrite even more of the theming options, we can do that here. Scrolling down to the typography options, you can change the colour of the text, as well as the size of that text, and all these other settings such as the weight and whether or not the text is capitalised. Finally, if you want to also overwrite the actual colour of the background of the button, you can do that here in our background section. It's really up to you how you'd like your applications to look and feel.